Hi, good evening, friends. This is Wasim Ahmed once again with you. Guys, looking at the time factor, you have only few hours remaining for your exam tomorrow morning, and I received many requests from different people to make video on the remaining questions. Yesterday we talked about scenario and question number one. So today, although I was busy all day, but yeah, I tried to make a video for you on question number two, three, four, and five. So hope it will help you. So let's start, guys. So guys, if we look at question number two, our task two is roles and responsibilities. And question number two is for health and safety management system to work properly, you need to have clear roles and responsibilities. Comment on the evidence from the scenario that would contribute to the effectiveness of the roles and responsibilities. So if you refer back to your course materials and study materials, this topic was discussed in detail in first element, where roles and responsibilities are discussed for different parties, where employer and employee and contractor and many parties were covered. So no need to panic. This is quite easy question. The only thing is you need to bring some evidence from the scenario and list it down here in the answer part. So I prefer to go with the style of an answer where we will be dividing it into three parts: opening part, the body of the answer, and the closing of the answer. No need to write these headings for your answers, but just keep in mind that you need to write at least one paragraph in opening up where you will be defining the importance of responsibilities and importance of that specific topic which you are going to discuss. Then the actual answer will be in the body, and then there are few lines you need to put to close out where you will be making some conclusion. So in the opening part, it is always preferable you go with some of the references to make your point stronger. And we all know that it is one of the most important part of your health and safety management system. If you recall the elements of health and safety management system, there is one element which is arrangement, and in the arrangement part we always set responsibilities for health and safety at different levels of the organization. So it starts with CEO who sign the policy, then directors who give direction, who give vision to the organization for health and safety. Then comes the uh, managerial level who take this who day to day were contributing to the implementation part, and then there are supervisor level who are supervising and monitoring the task. So everyone in the organization, they got certain responsibilities. This is very important to be discussed, that it is one of the most important part of your health and safety management system to set responsibilities at each level within the organization for health and safety. Secondly, if you look at the regulations, there are certain regulatory requirements where ILO C155 R164, which is convention and recommendation, and also health and safety at work regulation 1999. All of these regulations are talking a lot about responsibilities. Health and safety responsibilities must be clear, must be documented, and must be set at different levels within the organization. So here in the first paragraph, you made up your point, and you made it your point that it is so important to set up your responsibilities for health and safety at different levels. Now we are going to the body of the answer, and we'll be talking about the scenario, the information provided in the scenario. So if you recall, in the scenario where we were making summaries of the scenario, we were talking about the organization, and we said this organization has a very clear setup of the responsibilities of the employees. They are setting up responsibilities of employees at different levels very clearly. They are documenting it, and each and every one is very much clear on his role and responsibilities. Even if we look at the workers, they are fully motivated to fulfill their responsibilities, and sometimes they are trying to exceed the expectations of the organization for continual improvement. This point is very important. You need to discuss this point here. Also, if we look at the communication lines within the organization, internal communication as well as external communication, they have got a very clear responsibilities at each and every level that whenever there are conflicts arising from their employees or even their customers, they communicate with them very well and they try to resolve the issues. So management group is also aware of these responsibilities and they go with the attitude where they try to resolve the issues by communication properly. So this is also clearly defined and this is also followed by people within the organization. Continuing our answer here, it is also mentioned in the scenario that all incident and accidents and near misses, they are properly reported, investigated within the organization. So it is clear that each one in the organization, he understands his responsibility of reporting an incident and investigating an incident to further avoid reoccurrences, and even the management is responsible to help and support to avoid reoccurrences of all of those accidents. So this is another point to be discussed here. uh, Audit function is very important, guys, and continuous audits and performance checks are there in the organization. So people at different level, they are responsible to check performance during the activities to make sure that all the unsafe conditions, unsafe acts are controlled, and even the management system is audited properly. So this is another evidence you got from the scenario that they are fully complying with the health and safety management system requirements as well as legal requirements. Even if we look at the one of the ongoing tasks, which is quite a critical task, where there's a plant tank modification task going on, uh, they took it in a very responsible manner and they try to involve all of those people who can contribute to execute this job properly. So starting with the engineer having 25 years of experience and good history of solving such problems, and then process operator, and then supervisors at different levels, they all participated within the meeting. Even if you look at in the beginning, this process operator, which obviously is you, uh, he didn't take his personal decision since he know his responsibilities and he know his authority levels to solve the problem. So he highlighted this issue in front of the management, and then management called up a meeting and everybody participated in the meeting to find a solution. So they took it in a very responsible manner. If responsibilities are not set properly within the organization, then such actions are not expected from the employees. Usually people take their own decisions and finish the jobs. So this is another evidence you got on setting up of responsibilities accordingly. They are hiring a contractor, which is a third party, and even the contractors, they were assigned certain responsibilities during the task, and contractors, they accept the responsibilities and they go with a very positive attitude to follow certain responsibilities during execution of the job. So they were given a permit to work where the controls are mentioned and they were responsible to maintain those controls. Even the inductions were done by for the contractors. So all of these things shows that there is a clear line of responsibility within the organization and they all respect their responsibilities. They all follow their responsibilities. So guys, these are some of the points you need to mention in this answer. So guys, at the end, we have to write one small paragraph to close out our answer. So if you wrap it up, your answer in few lines here, we can say that looking at the scenario, evidence from the scenario, and looking at the things going on within the organization, uh, it is very clear that each party within the organization is very much clear on their roles and responsibilities, and they are acting very responsibly to follow their roles and responsibilities to achieve safe operations. At the end, health and safety performance and prevailing positive safety culture is also the evident of full compliance to their roles and responsibilities of employees, and this is how you can close it out. Our next question, question number 3, and the task 3 is influencing health and safety culture, and you need to look at the total marks. There are 20 marks awarded for this question. So you need to answer it very well. So if you look at the question number 3, based on the scenario only, what are the indicators of health and safety culture in the organization? So if you recall our scenario summary which we were making yesterday, we highlighted many points and you got a good stuff here to put in your answer. So in the body of the answer, in the opening of the answer, you need to talk a little bit about the overall culture within the organization. So you can say after reading through the whole scenario, it is clear that there is a very positive, strong and world-class safety culture prevailing within the organization. Even the culture of the organization is being used by the industry organization as a benchmark, and following are some of the major points to be discussed to prove this argument. So now, while starting the body of the answer, uh, you need to go with the heading format so that it is very easy for examiner to highlight, to see the highlighted points, and if you want to go into details, you have to write little paragraph for each heading down there. So we all know that there's a complete legal compliance within the organization. This is one of the positive safety culture indicator. The organization has good legal compliance to health and safety rules and regulations and policies and procedures. By setting smart objectives and having continuous checks on their achievement through formal audit function, it is one of the keys to ensure full legal compliance. Second point, low absenteeism and sickness rates. This is also one of the safety culture indicator. And as per information provided in the scenario, the organization has low absenteeism and sickness rates, which is one of the positive safety culture indicator, and it shows how the health and safety of worker is uh, uh, managed properly to avoid ill health effects and all that. So there is no the sickness rates are very low. Guys, we all know that there is very effective communication and complaints handling system prevailing within the organization. So even internal communication or external communication with the clients, they are very positive. So as per scenario, there is effective internal and external communication systems developed, which further help in identifying workers' complaints and further resolving the issues faced by workers and customers. Also, externally, customers' concerns are also addressed properly. So this is another positive indicator of safety culture. Good consultation arrangements provided. This is one more positive safety culture indicator we got from scenario. So there's a strong consultation culture within the organization, which is evident of positive safety culture. Workers are given privilege to consult their issues with the management, and through two-way positive consultation method, their issues are resolved. Effective risk assessment is another positive indicator. Looking at one of the current issue going on for modification of process plant, management has called a meeting involving different competent staff to identify the risk involved and mitigation of that risk. Most experienced engineer was used. Finally, the risk assessment has been developed and controls are defined like permit to work system, safe systems of work, supervision and monitoring by plant management for the contractors involved in execution of the hazardous job. So these are some of the characteristics of positive safety culture, and this is the way this organization is handling all of the critical tasks. Friends, another positive safety culture indicator is good contractor selection and management. To execute the risky job in hand, the organization has good contractor selection and management process in place. As mentioned, contractors were provided with the risk assessment and it was well communicated with them on all risks involved and mitigation measures. Further, during execution of the job, contractors will be monitored using active monitoring tool to ensure no deviation from the agreed procedures and full compliance with all set policies and procedures, permit to work system and safe system of work. So these were some of the procedures they defined, and this is how they are executing this critical job. Low incident accident rate is another positive safety culture indicator, guys, and we all know that as per scenario, the organization is always keeping an eye on the incidents, accident rates, and put all resources to keep them as low as possible using effective control methodology. There is this is one of the positive safety culture indicator also. Strong incident reporting and investigation is in place within this organization. Another positive indicator of such a positive safety culture is incident, accident, near miss reporting and investigation system in the organization. When incidents are reported and investigated properly, for sure the areas of concerns are identified and rectified to avoid reoccurrences. So these are all positive safety culture indicators, guys. This information is provided in the scenario that there is a strong audit function for continual improvement within the organization, and there is a formal internal external audit function in action within this organization, which ensures any areas of concern with regards to the health and safety management system are identified and corrective actions are in place to bridge the gaps found during the audits for continual improvement. This shows positive indicator of health and safety within the organization. The last point, organization is benchmark for health and safety. So this is one of the most important point I would say, that the other industry fellows, they like this organization with regards to their health and safety culture. And the more stronger argument to prove stronger health and safety culture presence within the organization is that it is used by many industry fellows as benchmark for health and safety practices. So this is how you will be covering the body of the answer. So friends, your task number 4, why lessons should be learned from the incidents. And if you look at the question number 4, other than a general improvement of health and safety, what specific reasons are there for this organization to learn lesson from the incidents? You need to make your point very clear in the opening of the answer that you know the other reasons also, but you are going to discuss specific reasons for this organization. So, although there are many reasons for learning from incidents, like to avoid reoccurrences, to comply with the laws, to improve health and safety arrangements, to identify root causes and immediate causes, etc. But in case of this organization, as asked in the question, as per my understanding, following are some of the specific reasons to learn lesson from the incidents. So you made your point clear that you know the other reasons also, but as asked in the question, you are going to discuss some specific reasons. And this is one of the common mistake people made in that exam, that they go with the very general information. They go with the all of those general reasons which are mentioned in the book. You need to stick to the question asked in the exam. So, in the first point, we can say that looking at the risk profile of the organization, since the organization is involved in a very critical job, they are involved in chemical manufacturing business, and there are evidence around the world that there are disasters. Whenever there are disasters with the chemical plants, these disasters brought a very huge damage to the communities. So you can even quote some of the references here. For example, looking at Bhopal, India incident, which was Union Carbide in 1984, many people died, and even till now there are many impacts on the environments, legal issues, moral issues, financial issues out of that incident. So you can quote such references, and this organization should also learn lesson from such incidents within the industry to avoid reoccurrence, to avoid those incidents happening in their facilities and all that. So this is how you can talk about some of the specific reasons. Looking at the risk profile of the business, the organization must learn lesson from the other incidents around them. Another important point you can discuss, that as clearly mentioned in the scenario, the organization has costly insurance arrangement. They have fully insured arrangement where the insurance premium is very high. And we all know that whenever there are incidents, whenever there are accidents, they are cost to the business, and even the insurance premium goes high. So learning lessons from the incidents will save them some cost also. And for example, if they have frequent accidents going on, their insurance premium will go high, and it will be a cost to the business. So they should learn lesson to avoid this problem also. Working with such high tech environment, it should be common practice to learn lesson from relevant incidents. and to keep updated with all the industrial and technical know-how. This would help organization to think the unthinkable and to prepare for that. So these are some of the specific reasons you can describe in your answer. Another point you can discuss here that the organization has a very good, very positive, strong safety culture within the organization, and it is not possible without strong leadership commitment from each one in the organization. It is very difficult to maintain good safety statistics, and these good safety statistics for a long time. It is very difficult to maintain them. To keep this goodwill, they should work on continual improvement and learn lessons from the incidents to avoid any incidents happening in this organization also. So to keep their safety culture, which is very positive, to keep their statistics, good safety statistics within the organization, this can be one of the reason also to learn lesson to avoid incidents. To adopt best practice standards and set such benchmarks in the industry, it is required to use learning from incident tool to be visible in the crowd and to set examples for others to play other players in the industry to follow such good practice standards. Organization with good safety culture always set examples by innovative techniques to avoid incidents. So these are few reasons you can discuss as a specific reasons to learn lesson from the incidents. So friends, our task number 5 is risk assessment, and question number 5 is the risk assessment for proposed storage tank modification has been completed. Based on the scenario only, comment on whether the risk assessment is suitable and sufficient in the following areas or not. We all know that risk assessment must be suitable and sufficient, suitable to the activities, to the nature of business, to the risk profiles of the organization, and sufficient covering all the facilities, all the areas, all the activities. So this is called suitability and sufficiency. So your part A is who might be affected, and your part B is the precautions are reasonable and remaining risk is low. So let's see how to solve this question. So friends, while answering this question number 5, who might be affected? This is part A of the question. So the opening of the answer, you can write down that the risk assessment exercise was leaded and completed by one of the most experienced engineer, possessing more than 30 years of international experience with zero downtime records. Other team members are also competent from different areas, backgrounds of business. Following are some of my findings on the question asked. So in the body, you can write who might be affected. And as mentioned in the scenario, there was a very careful consideration given to the affected parties out of the activity, and they have carefully identified the groups might be affected out of this activity. The affected parties identified are not only limited to the organizational employees and their own workers, but the other stakeholders were also identified who may get effect out of their activities. Some of the identified parties are as follows: the organization's own workers, the people in the adjacent businesses, the residential houses and schools in the areas. So it is clear, guys, that they have given utmost importance to this factor, and they have identified clearly all of those parties who may get effect out of their activities in case of any problem. So guys, you can give it a formal closeout to part A also. Since the activity involves spread of toxic gases and chemicals in the area, the group of affected parties were identified keeping the wider perspectives in mind. The importance was given to the neighboring businesses, partners, and even the general public, local residents in the area as well, schools. So you can make up your point in the closeout that yes, they have identified each and every party who may get effect very well, and they are not even leaving the general public and the neighboring parties around them. If we look at part B of your question, that is who might be affected, you can again go for a little opening of the answer, and you can talk about precautions and low risk levels here. So as per scenarios, a careful consideration has been given to this activity as a risk assessment. and competent team has been selected for stronger controls to be in place to avoid any potential incident. Many controls were identified and developed to reduce the risk level to alarm as low as reasonably practicable, and we'll be discussing the controls they have identified in the next slide. So in the body of the answers, guys, you need to write down the controls they have identified. Some of the controls suggested out of the risk assessment are as follows: safe system of work, permit to work, supplementary emergency arrangements, suitable induction training for all contractors involved, proper communication of risk assessment and permit to work controls to all concerned parties who are going to be involved in the jobs, active monitoring to be maintained to avoid any incidents, and strong monitoring by experienced process operator and another independent site contact to be maintained during the activities. So you can close out your answer saying, so all of the above controls in addition to suitable sufficient risk assessment ensure that your risk is minimal and it is reduced to as low as reasonably practicable level to execute the job safely. So friends, I think I have covered whatever I could have covered in this short time, and I'm sorry I could not complete all 7, 8 questions. I have completed only 5 questions for you. But anyhow, whatever I could have done, I have done for you guys, and I hope that it will help you. So please keep in touch and stay tuned. And I wish you best of luck for your exam tomorrow, inshallah. And hopefully things will be okay. Wishing you best of luck once again. Thank you very much.